So the day that they were actually supposed to go into the school, there were four of us who went up together. There's myself, L. Alex Wilson, who had been my boss at the Afro-American, and there was Jimmy Hicks, who was at the time with the Amsterdam News in New York. And Jim and I covered a lot of stories down south together. And there was a commercial photographer who was along. And as we approached the street that runs in front of the school there, they had this big mob there. And they confronted us. And of course, we pulled out our press credentials and that sort of thing, tell them that we were with the press. And that didn't cut any mustard at all. You know, they just started saying all kind of nasty things to us. And eventually somebody threw something, and that just sort of set off the whole mob thing. And Jim and I ran. The photographer, we sort of got lost from him. He ran down the street also. L. Alex Wilson, and this is another story. Down in Leesburg, he had been confronted by the KKK on one occasion when he was teaching school down there, and he had run. And after that, I think he felt shame of himself, and he decided that he would never run again in a situation like that. So he stayed back. You know, he just walked down, and they beat him something awful. You know, they were striking him, they were kicking him, they were throwing stuff and hitting him. And of course, his family, he died a couple of years later, and his family thought that some of the head damage he suffered there was related to his death. The morning they went into that school, I guess was really the morning that I understood how difficult school integration was going to be. There was not just the people who were violent up there, but there were a lot of people, women, middle-aged and older, who lived in that area there, and they were just walking around, wringing their hands, crying, openly crying, saying things like, "They're in our school. They're actually in our school." And I knew this is going to be tough, man. This is going to be really tough. But the lesson to me was that although President Eisenhower had been pretty much pressured into taking action, it showed once and for all that the federal government was going to do whatever was needed to do to see that the court orders were carried out. And I think that was an important precedent that was set there. It was sort of a mixed bag of things. You were glad the kids were in the school. You were glad that the federal government had put down the violence. It was America doing what America should have done earlier. At the same time, you realize that that was just one phase of it, that there was going to be a lot more of this, because you had seen the feelings of the people, not just the violent ones. You know, that always impressed me. It was how deeply some of the bystanders felt about this thing. I think I probably put more emotion into that story than I usually did in writing stories. You know, I think something about the government standing up and showing what it could and should be under that circumstance.